world leaders are blasting Donald Trump publicly like we've never seen before. Case in point, Bloomberg reporting U.S. allies say the Strait of Hormuz remains mined. Donald Trump is lying when he said he demined the Strait of Hormuz. Top U.S. allies say the U.S. Navy has not cleared mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Trump is making this up, and officials estimate that there's between 80 to 150 mines that probably remain in the Strait of Hormuz, that the Trump regime has not demined the Strait of Hormuz, and Trump is totally lying. I'm going to show you what else world leaders and former allies of the United States said in just a moment. But world leaders came out with that statement as soon as Donald Trump went on right-wing propaganda podcasts. And here's what Donald Trump said about getting rid of the mines. Let's play this clip.
The mines are gone. You probably saw that. We put it out yesterday, all the mines. We got rid of the mines. But the strait, it's functioning. It's a functioning strait. Yes, every once in a while there'll be a drone or a rocket or something shot, but it is a very functioning strait. A lot of oil is pouring out. 10 million gallons, 10 million barrels yesterday.
We're hearing more from former allies of the United States. For example, Germany announced that it is considering helping fund and protect Britain's Trident nuclear deterrent as Europe looks to reduce its dependence on the United States. Berlin is exploring deeper nuclear cooperation with Britain and France rather than developing its own weapons, and rather than leaning into any view that the United States is going to provide a security umbrella. What else has occurred in the past 24 hours? Australia announcing that its reliance on US-made missiles is becoming a strategic vulnerability as the Iran war drains American stockpiles. Analysts warn deliveries of weapons such as Tomahawks could be delayed, leaving Australia exposed in a potential Indo-Pacific conflict. That was published in Politico. Well, 8 hours later, this is what was published in the Washington Post. Do you think our allies or former allies are trying to send a message right now? U.S. weapon shortage from Iran war alarms allies confronting China. Concerns are growing in Asia and within the Pentagon that dwindling stockpiles will embolden China and North Korea and also Russia. Because I'm going to talk in a moment about what's going on with the likely invasion by Russia and Belarus, opening up a northern front in the winter, which I suspect is going to happen. There has been reporting about why the CIA director John Ratcliffe visited Russia, why he visited Moscow. It said he visited to warn Putin to stay away from NATO countries, really nothing about Ukraine, but just stay away from the NATO countries. And what did Putin do immediately? Well, he launched a massive hack against Norway. China launched a massive hack inside the United States against the Federal Reserve and against the Senate. The Trump regime DOJ claims they stopped the hack, but this is the same Trump regime that literally lies about everything. And in the past 12 to 24 hours since that visit by Ratcliffe to Moscow, which lasted about 90 minutes, Putin has rained down more ballistic missiles in Ukraine and basically said what Ratcliffe did means absolutely nothing to us. I digressed. Let's get back here to this Washington Post article. U.S. weapon shortage from Iran war alarms allies confronting China. The massive expenditure of U.S. munitions in the Middle East is increasingly worrying Asian allies and frustrating Pentagon officials overseeing the Indo-Pacific, who fear that the prolonged war with Iran could undermine U.S. readiness for a conflict with China as it continues to step up military pressure across the region. Concerns about the depleted stockpiles come as the United States canceled an amphibious land exercise with South Korea and the other drills with South Korea, as Donald Trump praised his friendship with Kim Jong-un, which Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-un's sister responded by saying, "We're uninterested in what Trump's saying. We don't take it seriously, and we have no plans of meeting with him anytime soon." The article goes on to say how South Korea and other U.S. partners in Asia, including Japan and Taiwan, relied on Washington as the dominant supplier of major conventional weapons. But now you have Taiwanese officials saying they suspect significant delays of Patriot missiles due to the drain of supplies. Japan and South Korea feel the same way also. And this is what the Trump regime has been reduced to. The umbrella in Southeast Asia and Asia by the United States is over. You want to know how bad it is? Yes, we did report, of course, that the last U.S. aircraft carrier in the Pacific, the USS George Washington, left in order to replace the USS Abraham Lincoln, which had the horrid and horrific conditions after being out on sea for it was going to be close to like 300 days. It was a huge amount of time. Remember, they didn't have food or didn't have enough nutritional food in order to really sustain themselves, and the showers were broken and everything was horrible. By the way, one of the service members who tried to jump overboard as a result of the mental health issues arising from the horrible treatment is now being prosecuted by the despicable and disgusting Trump regime. And remember, the Trump regime consistently defamed the family members of the service members of our sailors and Marines, saying that they're a bunch of liars. But in addition to the George Washington, one U.S. official said more than 30 other ships were supposed to be in the Pacific, and they were shifted to the Middle East during the war. So it wasn't just the George Washington that moved. The article also says that while Donald Trump's out there basically being a bootlicker for Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un, they're not reciprocating what Donald Trump is saying about his love of them and how close he is. They're focused on building their military capabilities. And the article points out, for example, this combination of satellite images showing China's construction work at the Antelope Reef in the South China Sea. And China is building these man-made islands, which it claims is for non-military purposes, but many military experts say it is to project military strength. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has crippled former ally Qatar. Qatar's LNG exports collapsed 96%, erasing $24 billion in gas revenue as a result of Trump and Netanyahu's catastrophic war against Iran. Qatar lost an estimated $24 billion. Again, let me repeat that, in LNG exports. Again, Trump regime crushing its allies.
I love grilling in the summer, but once you get beyond burgers and steaks, it can become a whole production. Veggies fall through the grates, fish sticks or falls apart, and somehow cleanup takes longer than dinner. That's why I've been using Hexclad's barbecue collection. Their barbecue grill pan gives you the searing power of stainless steel, the durability of cast iron, and the convenience of nonstick. Their perforations still let the heat and smoke through, so you get that real grilled flavor without sacrificing half your food to the grill. They've also got the new barbecue grill topper for delicate foods and bigger batches, and the barbecue bundle gives you the grill pan, hybrid cutting board, and carving set. It's an awesome setup, especially if you grill a lot during the summer. So if you're planning on spending a lot of time behind the grill this summer, don't make it harder than it needs to be. Stop losing food through the grates, stop fighting cleanup, and upgrade your backyard cooking setup with Hexclad's barbecue collection. From August 20th through September 8th, you can get up to 52% off Hexclad and upgrade your kitchen for the new season. Just head to hexclad.com/Meidas. That's HEXCLAD.com/Meidas, MEIDAS. Support our show and let them know we sent you. Again, head to hexclad.com/Meidas. That's HEXCLAD.com/Meidas, MEIDAS. Support our show and let them know we sent you.
I also want to note that the ICC president, the International Criminal Court's president, who has been attacked by Donald Trump, Tomoko Akani, She received the most serious form of sanctions against the United States. As Trump said, it's because Trump wants to protect Netanyahu from criminal prosecution by the ICC. There's a warrant out for his arrest. She responded yesterday, "What Trump is doing to me will not change how I approach my judicial duties as the president of the ICC, nor will I allow myself to be pressured by these threats." Donald Trump's threats are falling at this point on deaf ears. Nobody's taking Trump seriously. And of course, you also know that after Donald Trump has threatened Canada repeatedly and engaged in this horrific trade war against Canada, America's closest ally, which Donald Trump has destroyed that alliance and has made Canada goes elbows up to fight back and retaliate. Canada is standing strong. Canada announced its retaliation package, and we have seen the Trump regime whining over and over again. Should also be noted that France is pushing to limit Ukraine's ability to buy non-European military equipment with EU loan money, seeking to steer the $60 billion euro defense portion, 60 billion euro defense portion, not dollar, 60 billion euro defense portion of the EU's 90 billion euros support package toward European and French producers. And they're saying, look, we're giving you the money. We want you to buy European weapons. Do not buy American weapons. And throughout all of this process, you have Donald Trump making ridiculous posts and demented posts. Donald Trump posted this video, which he superimposed himself on. This clip is from the film Darkest Hour, and the tiger in this clip refers to Adolf Hitler, and it's the U.S. Department of Education saying, "No one does it like us," and they have Donald Trump as the tiger, and they're basically saying Trump is Hitler in this video that they released. And then you had the White House post this image right here of a bald eagle attacking a Canada goose, but it actually turns out that this is based on real footage where the Canada goose ultimately prevailed and actually beat the eagle, and the eagle went away. As Carl Shimoda says, if this isn't a metaphor for U.S. trade policy, I don't know what is. Now, as I said earlier, we are now learning at least what is being reported and leaked out about why the CIA director John Ratcliffe was in Moscow. Wall Street Journal reporting, CIA chief's surprise Moscow trip was to warn Russia not to attack NATO, to which Moscow immediately responded by hacking NATO countries. And then the news that's coming out, which we've known before, Russia is preparing to escalate attacks on Ukraine after concluding that peace negotiations have reached a dead end, according to Bloomberg, citing 3 people close to the Kremlin. If you take a look at some of the developments just even over the past 12 hours, tensions continue to rise along NATO's eastern flank. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko ordered a rapid combat readiness inspection of the country's armed forces. Specifically, the 51st Guards Artillery Brigade was placed on full alert. Furthermore, personnel have been recalled, and the unit is currently expected to leave its permanent base for an unspecified task. And lots of people believe that Belarus is preparing to open up a northern front against Ukraine this winter as the world sees that the U.S. has run out of weapons and the U.S. is too weak to do anything at all, nor does Donald Trump actually want to help Zelensky at all. He did not provide Zelensky with the interceptor license that was so vitally needed and lied to Zelensky and said he was going to. You have the alliance of Russia, of China, of North Korea, and Iran is part of that, and other nations as well, seeing the U.S. at its weakest since post-World War II, and they are making their move, and our allies are saying, what the hell is going on? We've never thought that even under Trump, the U.S. would get so weak so quickly. So you have Donald Trump going on the right-wing propaganda podcast, and Trump's like, I think that something may come out of the CIA director's visit to Russia. You don't know. Maybe there'll be a peace deal. And what Donald Trump wants to happen, let's be very clear, is what he's been trying to do all along. It's why he's been tapping Zelensky along and lying about giving Zelensky Patriot interceptors or interceptor licenses. He wants surrender. He wants capitulation, and he wants Russia to take over most of eastern Ukraine. Here's what Trump said when he was on this right-wing propaganda podcast. Let's play it.
And everything else, and they poured into our country. You wouldn't have had that. But you would not have had the war in Ukraine. John Ratcliffe is a fantastic guy. He's the head of the CIA, and he is not in there for any of the things that you said. Now, something may come out of it. We're working very hard to get that war ended. And frankly, they both want to see it ended.
More from Donald Trump on this right-wing propaganda podcast attacking Canada. You could hear for yourself.
Won't do any business. In other words, we won't trade. They don't have anything that we have to have. Okay, we can get by. I mean, there are a couple of things that would make it a little inconvenient, but we could get them elsewhere. And it's time to teach Canada you can't do this anymore. We lose $60 billion and really more than that, $60 billion a year with Canada.
And while Donald Trump attacks Canada, Donald Trump alienates all of our alliances, and you see what's shaping up right there. Take a look at the cooperation between, let's say, Iran and China. And this is a big deal. How the Iranian Shahi drone transformed war with China's help. Proliferation of cheap one-way drones was made possible by a complex global supply chain that keeps leading back to China. So, what we're seeing Iran be able to do, Russia be able to do, and what China is clearly behind. Russia's new jet-powered Shahed drone flies at 300 miles per hour, 3 times faster than the classic propeller version, and they exist because of Chinese engines. That's what the journal's reporting, and this makes it very difficult for the drone interceptors to strike down the new Shaheds. Should also be noted, as I said earlier, China hacking the United States. DOJ says China-linked hackers breached NASA, Federal Reserve, and Senate networks. According to the DOJ, they stopped it, but we know the DOJ lies about everything, so we could probably guess that China has hacked our entire government, and they have access to everything at this point. And it should be noted as well, the Trump regime gutted and fired a lot of the key positions that would protect against this type of hacking. So you have Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson mocking everything I've shared with you. Washington's Iran policy has reached pure parity, Iran's foreign ministry says. It turns to Bahrain, a country with virtually no meaningful economic exchange with Iran, to prove that its coalition is working. It then stops Iranian sports and academic exchanges that had already been effectively dead for years. It is sanctioning the already sanctioned and calling the empty space a coalition. And then Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson says, so America sent the USS Abraham Lincoln to the region to project power. After months of war and more than 200 days without a single port call, it is now heading to Thailand for crew rest and relaxation. Mission, project power. Current mission, project vacation. Original mission, project power. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. Meanwhile, China announced that it was strongly behind Iran and would not agree to Besant's economic D-Day threats against China and Russia and other allies of Iran. As I've stated earlier in this video, the Trump regime's never been weaker. The U.S. has never been weaker. The U.S. threats mean nothing. Donald Trump's out there lying every damn day, and everybody looks at it and goes, this guy is weak. He always backs down. The U.S. has gotten rid of its top generals and admirals, and the U.S. is out of weapons. You don't scare us anymore. You can huff and you can puff, but nobody buys what you're selling. MB Ghalibaf, Iran's parliament leader, thanked China. We welcome China's principal statement rejecting illegal sanctions against Iran. And then in the past 48 hours, 2 more tankers have been struck by Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. One about 48 hours ago, which we reported on, which was completely covered up by the Trump regime. And another one yesterday, a Kuwaiti tanker was struck in the Strait of Hormuz as well, which again was covered up by the Trump regime. Well, there you have it, everybody. I wanted to tie this all together. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. And get your copy of WTF America today if you can. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, if you want the full story, how democracy got here and how we take it back, pre-order our new book, WTF America, today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Let's do this.